I thank the man, and I have, and in person, I've thanked him for opening my eyes, because he opened my eyes that night. I met him first time in '63. It's kind of a funny story too. Ed Parker walked in with this skinny little guy, and he says, "I want to." We were finishing a class. Put it this way: we had done a class. Bruce had been observing as part of just the people outside in the lobby watching. We didn't know him. We didn't anything. And then after the class, Dave Hebler, Danny Asano, I think there might have been one other person and myself were walking with our shoes in our hand, clothes on, street clothes to the front from the dressing room. And Ed stopped us halfway and he said, "I want you guys to meet a hot young martial artist. This is Bruce Lee." Mm-hmm. We all shook hands. "Hi, how are you?" And then Ed got called to the phone or something right away. And Bruce was there, and he took over the conversation immediately because that was him. And he let us know that he had just come back from Hong Kong. And boy, our eyes pricked up right at Hong Kong, the mecca of Kung Fu. And wow, and Ed was just starting to work on his second book, The Secrets of Chinese Karate, which is Kung Fu. So we were really intrigued with him. And one of us asked, so what are the martial arts like in Hong Kong? And he said, well, he had a little bit of a speech impediment. He says, well, it's 95% commercial bullshit. And we went, what? Hong Kong is commercial bullshit? And he says, yes. And he said, well, how about oh, geez, what about those other guys? How about them? He says, well, half of them are really twine, but they don't know what they're doing.
Okay, there you go.
So now we're down to 2.5%. I said, well, what about those guys? He says, you round eyes couldn't get down the alley before they murder you. he says, I barely get down there, and they accept me. But he says, no, they're the real deal. Does the word tongue or triad mean anything to you? This wasn't a school. These were the guys. Seriously. So then we talked about it, and then he dropped a bomb, I thought.
Really?
He said, by the way, I was watching you earlier, and he said, you were doing this, and he showed us something you were doing. I don't remember what it was, but he did it like he had been in the class forever. I mean, he did it perfectly. And we said, yeah, we were doing that. And he says, why were you doing that? What kind of a question is that? Why were we doing that? Ed Parker was teaching the class. That's why we were doing it.
Yeah, sure.
Why else were we doing? And he says, well, I just wanted because it was wrong.
Okay.
Hello. What kind of gall does it take to walk into somebody else's dojo and tell three or four of his top guys that what their instructor is teaching you is wrong?
Yeah, that wouldn't go over too well.
Not too well. I remember Dave Hebler kind of looking at me like, you want him or should I take him? And I'm like, let's see what he had to say. He was right.
Okay.
That particular move shouldn't have been there. But you or I could walk into any school in the world and see things that shouldn't be there. Why are they there? Tradition.
There you go.
For no other reason than tradition. The short outward block, that'll get your head taken off. There's no strength in that. You can pull it down. Just with 2 fingers, you pull that down. And people are learning. They think it's good. They think they can punch it. They're not going to punch that. They're going to get punched in the head.
Yeah.
It's counterproductive.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's truly counterproductive. Take your smallest person, take your littlest girl, and she'll pull your arm down. And when she does, you're going to go, oh, I thought that was going to block a blow. No, it's not.
Now, did Bruce Lee tell you guys about Jeet Kune Do back in '63? Because obviously he developed that, and he was all about, utilizing what's effective, discarding the rest. So obviously it would make sense that he would be that bold and tell you guys that's garbage.
Basically, he was telling us what we were learning was garbage. He was telling us that to look into it further. And I'm telling you, I was driving home. I thanked the man, and I have, and in person, I've thanked him for opening my eyes, because he opened my eyes that night. That night that I met him, I'm driving home, and I'm saying to myself, how come he could do that and I can't? And as I'm driving, I'm saying to myself, that's ridiculous. I mean, here this Bruce is 9 years younger than I. At that point in your life, he was 21, I was 30. I'm 30 years old by now.
Yeah, sure. He's still a kid.
And I mean, at that time, that's a lot of life experience.
Oh, third. Yeah.
How come? And then it all of a sudden hit me. I think I said it out loud as I'm driving all by myself. I do that a lot. I just talk while I'm driving. Anyhow, I said, how do you know you can't do it? You never tried. You never took one thing that Ed Parker taught you and examined it to see if it was good, bad, or ugly.
You just never questioned it.
You accepted it all.
Yeah.
You soaked it all in as though it was 100% gospel. No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't.
All the masses know that you need to glow. You need to glow, the glow, the glow. If you love
Did Ed Parker take offense at all? I know him and Bruce Lee were good friends, but Bruce Lee's saying, questioning the stuff he's teaching you guys.
No, I think Mr. Parker was so sure of his. See, the problem was that Ed Parker could do everything he created, but I couldn't, and you couldn't probably, and neither could anybody else. But he could do it all. So if you questioned him on it, he'd show you how it worked. He
could make it work, sure. Since
he could make it work. The man was truly amazing. He really, really was. As a martial artist, and I tell you, I had the opportunity to study with anybody I wanted. I mean, back in the day, Oyama and Nishama, all those guys, I mean, I saw them, I saw what they had, I saw what we had, and I said, there's some good systems out there, but there's nothing any better than what we've got. I examined them all, I saw what they had, and I said, nah, I don't see that I have to change anything. Oh, the biggest thing that the biggest mistake that Ed Parker made, of course, was bringing on Jimmy Woo.
Bringing on who?
Jimmy Woo.
Jimmy Woo. Why?
Woo. Because Jimmy Woo stole Ed Parker's entire advanced class, except for one, me.
Oh, so he took all the students, but you were loyal and stayed.
Yes, and I was the only one out of the entire advanced class. All the brown belts, all the black belts.
What made you stay?
I didn't like Jimmy Woo.
Wasn't enough.
I didn't care for him. I didn't have any respect for somebody that lays on the mats and smokes a cigarette while he's teaching. Now, I knew you were going to say, wait a minute. Nobody does that. Yeah, he did. He really did. He would lay in the corner with a cigarette smoking, and then he put it down and he'd show us something. Then he'd go back in the corner later. But I found out later on that many of the elder Chinese did that. So he was just monkey see, monkey do.
Sure.
It wasn't original on his part. He thought that's the way it was.
Yeah, that was his tradition.